he said, one of them last words he'll say, won't you go and dig me a hole in that ground?
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. Another little quick gun discussion about one of my personal favorites. I know I say that a lot, but everybody loves the 1911. And today we're going to be talking about the Tisas 1911. This is kind of their U.S. Army copy. I don't know what you'd call it, clone, whatever. It's a little bit of a goofy gun, to be honest. If you ask me, I don't necessarily go for the, let's try to be just like somebody else type of thing, or cloning old school guns. But the truth is, like you've heard me say many times before, I found this for a really good deal at a store that had it on sale, and so I just kind of picked it up, spur of the moment. I didn't plan on it. I saw it, they had a good price, so I went home, watched a few of these reviews, just like I'm making right now, of other people talking about this gun, and they had some relatively positive things to say, and I thought, this might be a cool gun for me to experiment a little bit with, because I like to tinker around with things. I used to work as a mechanic as a living, and I like to just work on things. I like to kind of play with them and see what happens. So if you can't tell already, and I'll throw some pictures up, some detailed pics, I have done a couple of minor modifications to this gun that made it way, way better to shoot for fun. Now, I'm not even going to get into this reliability thing because, like I've said in some of my other videos, 99.9% of all the rounds that all of us gun enthusiasts fire are strictly for fun. And so the reliability of a 1911, especially a $400 1911, I really don't know. I'm not going to comment on that, and I don't really know how important it is. If you're carrying this particular gun for self-defense, more power to you, but I don't think that's necessarily what this was designed for, and I probably would make a different choice. There's a lot of better choices out there for a carry gun than this thing. It is heavy. It's steel construction. It's not aluminum frame, so it's all the real deal, just like the old ones. But it's a handful of gun. But that also makes it really good to shoot. So reliability-wise, I'm not going to go into detail. I had a couple of hang-ups with this when I first got it, but honestly, I think it was more to do with ammo than it was the gun. But it could have just been breaking in. But I've put, I don't know, probably close to maybe 1,500 rounds through this, maybe more, but right around that mark of 1,500 rounds. And it's overall been pretty dang reliable as far as that goes. But the main thing is it's really, really fun to shoot. Now, in most of the reviews, if you're interested in buying this gun, you've seen that the hammer and the beaver tail are a little bit lacking on the stock model. Now, I swapped mine out right when I got it. I shot it one time and I got a lot of the bite, the hammer bite that people talk about, and it wasn't that much fun to shoot. And so I immediately went home and ordered some Wilson Combat parts. I got their I think they call it the skeletonized hammer and their beaver tail. And I was kind of actually hoping that I'd have to do a little bit of machining with these things and I could experiment with that because I've done some minor gunsmithing in the past, but I've never really had to fit a lot of very precise parts in a handgun like this. But to my dismay, I was actually pretty surprised and pretty happy that when I got these parts in, they just popped right in and fit perfectly, and they've worked really, really well. Now you can see a little bit of wear on the palm, the grip safety there, where it's just rubbing just ever so slightly, but it's not enough to even notice it. I think it's just normal wear on that. And that's the only issue I've had with installing these Wilson Combat parts as far as the hammer and the beaver tail go. They went on pretty easy. If you know anything about taking apart 1911s, or if you just do some basic research online, study up a little bit on it, it's not that hard. It's pretty fun. This is a cool gun to work on. I really do enjoy that. And once I put those two parts on there, You had to put the hammer on because the stock hammer would not work with this beaver tail. But once I installed those two parts, man, it's like I was saying, it's just a really fun gun to shoot. It's heavy enough to where it doesn't offer a lot of recoil. It's comfortable to shoot, and man, it's super accurate. If you've ever shot a 1911, you know how much fun they are and you know how accurate they are. And there's a reason why so many people use these in competitive shooting and did for many years. Now, I did put a little dab of white appliance paint on the sight there because I'm not as young as I used to be, and it helps me pick it up. It was, you know, kind of blending in beforehand, but besides that, that's the only modification I've made. I haven't changed any of the internal springs or anything like that. The only other comment I'm going to have about how the gun works is with the stock clip magazine, for you anal retentives. With the stock clip, it actually functions the way that you think it would and everything works fine. Now, I picked up a Wilson Combat mag, and this one, if you just try to insert it normally, it will not go all the way in. You have to actually push the magazine release button to get that to go all the way in flush like it's supposed to in seat. Now, it ejects just fine, and it functions just fine. I haven't had any malfunctions that are magazine related, so when you look at these really close, I mean, I'm sure there's a couple of very minor differences somewhere that's causing that to happen, but I really haven't been able to figure out exactly what that was. I'm sure if I cared a little bit more about it, I could figure out why that was not inserting as cleanly as the stock mag was, but you know what, I don't really care. I don't use this for competitive shooting, and I don't carry it for self-defense. And even if I did, 8 rounds is enough to get the job done. But I just really haven't dug into why that magazine is not functioning the same way that the other one is. But it works once you get it in there. You just have to push the release button to get it to seat fully. So that's the only real issue I've had with adding any of these Wilson Combat parts to this handgun, with that one very minor issue there. Now, like I said, once I put the beaver tail on there, super fun gun to take to the range. Really cool shooting gun. It feels really good in the hand, and even for what you would call I don't know, I wouldn't even call it a budget. This is like the bottom of the barrel price range. Because I think a 1911, like the Ruger 1911, is about $900, I think, out the door. And that's pretty much a budget model these days. Most of these high quality 1911s kind of start, from the best of my knowledge, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic for you guys. To the best of my knowledge, these start around $1,500, maybe even $2,000, and go up significantly from there. So for $400, like, you would expect this to just be junk. But the fit is really good. I mean, it's been super tight. It just feels good to shoot. Every time I've taken it out, I've been really glad that I picked this up. The trigger on it is amazing, just like most 1911s. I was gonna swap the trigger out for some Wilson Combat stuff, but once I shot it several times, I thought, what's even the point? I'm not gaining anything. Now, it does have the plastic grips, but from what I understand, that's actually how they were back in the day, and at least in World War II and all that. And I think this is you know, it says 1911A1, so this is like I'm not completely up on 1911 history, but I believe this is like the second version of this gun. So this is basically what they would have been using in World War II. And I understand that they actually did have plasticized grips. Now, you could put some other ones on there, and I thought about that, but then, you know, they don't look bad. But like I said at the beginning of this video, I do think this is kind of a goofy gun with the U.S. Army engraved on the side and all that. You know, each to their own. Taste is a personal thing, and I'm not trying to knock anybody. If you think this is the coolest thing in the world, more power to you. But I would have just as soon had, you know, a black one or I don't care. It could have been pink or purple for all I care. But since I got a good deal on this one, very, very well worth it. Last thing I'm going to say is I do intend to upgrade my safety a little bit. I think Wilson Combat makes a upgraded spring that fits in there, because the safety is not the most positive feeling thumb safety that I've experienced on a 1911. It kind of feels a little wimpy. And from what I understand from the research I've done, if you upgrade that spring in that portion right there, then it will give you a more positive feel with that safety. But again, I don't carry this gun. I don't have any intentions of carrying this gun. It's strictly something I take to the range and put a couple hundred rounds through, and it's really good at that. So if you're interested in this Tisas 1911, I highly suggest picking one up if you can find one. It may be a little stiff the first few rounds you put through it, because mine was fitted, really tight, man. I mean, the machining on this is really, really tight, which is good, I think, in the long run. But I also understand that a lot of the classic 1911s fit pretty loose and still work really, really well. So it may be a little restrictive, actually, until you get this thing broken in. Don't take my word for that. I'm not an expert. I play the guitar for a living. I don't manufacture guns. But Tisas 1911, pick one up if you find one, or if you're interested in this, throw that Wilson Combat beaver tail on there, and you can literally shoot it all day and have a great time with it. I think it's a good firearm. So, if you made it this far, thanks for joining me again. I do have an update coming for my Taurus revolvers. I just haven't had enough time to take those guys out and shoot them enough to really get back with a definite opinion on, did Taurus do the job that they should have done. I don't want to reveal anything right now in this video, but I will tell you there's some surprises already. And then there's some good news, some bad news with that, so stay tuned. I apologize, I haven't had time to do that. This is a busy time for me and my real job. Like I said, I play the guitar for a living, so I've been all over the Southeast here lately. Springtime is kind of a boom time in our business, and I've been doing a little touring. And so on that tip, if you like the music that you hear on the intro, outro of my videos, if you're interested in that, check out my regular music page, just John Sosby on YouTube. You can't miss me. There's some funny TV episodes you can see with me and my band on LJ Telephone Company's old TV show that they had. But anyway, I will be back with some more gun reviews shortly. I'll have some other videos coming up soon, because I will get to the range hopefully this week and put enough rounds through those two 38s, or the 38 and the 357 Taurus, to where I can give you guys a clear and concise update on that. But I didn't want to come back and give you a determining opinion without having put several hundred rounds through both of those guns. And I just hadn't had the time to do that lately. So I do apologize. I appreciate all you guys that subscribe to my channel, that tune into my videos. Thank you so much. I just do this for fun, and so I hope you're having fun watching me. And yeah, I've got an AR-15 review coming up. I'm going to talk a little bit about some cheap 22 stuff, and we'll probably even do some automatic clip-fed shotgun experiments here, adventures, so to speak, I've got coming up in the works. So stay tuned. And one more time, if you like the Tisas 1911, I think it's a good deal for the money. Actually, I think it's a great deal for the money. And it's a pretty good shooting 1911. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time, folks. We'll see you at the range.
Won't you go dig me a hole in that ground? See that rat? my dog, yeah, and he won't come or call him all day. Low Willie jumped and he run, boy, but I didn't have my gun. Tell you I was never so sorry in my life.